Hey everyone, welcome to another video. In this video, we are continuing our discussion we had in the last video regarding MMPC 3's previous year question papers and all the important topics we'll have to learn, right? So, any questions which I have covered in the previous parts, I will not be covering again just out of respect of everyone's time. So, please bear with me. Okay, so without wasting time, let us get started. The first question in today's video is discuss the interaction matrix of economic and non-economic environment and how does the economic environment influence the non-economic environment of business and vice versa. Explain it with suitable examples. So the economic environment is all the economic conditions and policies and everything that affects the business. Non-economic environment will be the social, political, legal, technological, demographic, and all those things. Okay. So now that you know what is economic and non-economic, like economic conditions, if there is not enough cash flow or if the policies are not favorable, then naturally technology will not grow. There could be legal restrictions. All those things could happen, right? And the same way, if the political environment is not stable, then naturally, or depending upon the political parties' ideologies, our economic conditions and policies, economic policies, everything will get affected. So there is actually a good amount of interaction between this economic and non-economic environments, right? And based on that, you can write your answer. Next question. Do you agree with the statement that the overall performance of public sector enterprises has been poor or not? So, definitely in India, when we think about it, there is a lack of managerial efficiency, right? If you go to a government office, you go in there expecting that things are not going to happen in the first time you visit, right? So, the reason why it is there is because of a lack in managerial efficiency and effectiveness and all those things, right? They are not able to take quick action or quick decision. Things take time, right? That is so I would definitely agree that the overall performance of public sector enterprises is poor in India because of all these reasons. But you can have your own reason, you can have your own stance, and you can write if such a question comes. I strongly encourage you to write your own point of view, right? Now, the next question is what are the objectives of industrial policy in India in the post-reform period and what ways are adopted to achieve these objectives? Discuss in detail. So, some of the objectives include the foreign trade, service export, Pradhan Mantri Jan Dhan Yojana, the GST, Atmanirbhar Bharat, Swachh Bharat, Make in India, Skill India, all those things you can write. Okay. Okay, the next one. Briefly discuss the foreign investment policy in India in the post-reform period onwards and what impact did this liberalization have on the quantum of foreign direct investment, that is FDI inflows into India. So the India's foreign investment policy, it is governed by FDI and Foreign Exchange Management Act, okay, and it is there to sustain India's economic growth. The foreign investments are needed. Protection of sectors of strategic importance like defense and telecom were all included in the foreign investment policy, right? So defense and telecom and all foreign investments were not allowed. Still, it is not allowed. So on the whole, but if you think about it, the liberalization did have a positive impact because right now we have more FDIs inflowing into India, and that is one of the reasons why our BOP is in surplus right now, because a lot many companies are willing to invest in India, right? Okay, so the next one, write short notes on the following. So the first one is the environment movement. So environment movement means you can include Chipko, Narmada Bachao, Apiko, Vaishnoi, all those things. Okay, social responsibility of business. So business has responsibility towards its shareholders, its employees, or the human resources, the community in which it exists, workplace, environment, all those things. Globalization, okay, it is nothing new. We have all studied about it. I'm not going into detail. Merits of foreign capital. So some of the merits include transfer of skilled resources, ease of international trade, facilitates job creation, human capital development, it boosts economic growth, all those things. Economic reforms, again, LPG, social security, so National Family Benefit Scheme, the Old Age Pension Scheme, Factory Act, all those things. Okay, so the next question, explain the role and responsibilities of government as a regulator of business. So that includes licensing, taxation, monetary credit policies, income or wage policy, forex policy, industrial safety, environment policy, import, export, technology, employment, all those things you can write. As a promoter of business, transportation development, canal, tube well, PWD, cess, all these things. Entrepreneur, making investments, nationalization, or such things you can write. As a planner, it provides 5-year plans and various initiatives to help participation of people in the economy, right? Okay, next question. Analyze the importance of small scale industry. Okay. Okay, next question. Analyze the importance of small scale industry in a developing economy. Examine the growth of small scale industries during the post reform period of India. That is right now. So, how is small scale industries growing? We have a lot of small businesses coming up right now, right? So, actually, if you want to say that some industry is a small scale industry, then it should its capital should be between its capital could be at max 10 lakhs to 2 crores. So such industries are said to be small scale industries. And right now, as it stands, 35% of total exports in our nation actually comes from these small scale industries. Okay, so you can write what you know about them. The next question, why is foreign capital essential for India's economic development? Critically examine the steps taken by government to attract foreign direct investment. Again, the reason why: more employability, growth options, capital development, all those things. So what were the steps? Liberalization, globalization, privatization, right? Next, examine the impact of economic reforms on the growth rate and GDP of employment. I would leave you to it. Okay, nothing new here. It's just a summary of all the economic reforms and everything that we know about. Write short notes on any three of the following: globalization. Okay, nothing new again. Development banks. So developmental banks, national, regional, financial. What are they? They are national or regional financial institutions that are designed to provide medium or long-term capital for productive investment, and it is often accompanied by technical assistance as well in poor countries. Like the industrial or developmental bank, agricultural development bank, import export development bank, this ICICI and all were actually developmental banks initially. Okay, next is industrial sickness. So what is industrial sickness? Whenever there is a steady imbalance in the debt equity ratio and distortion in the financial position of the unit, then we say that the unit is sick. A sick unit is unable to support itself through the operation of its internal resources. So that is industrial sickness. Next is private sector. So what is it? The economic system that is run by individuals and companies. You can write down what you know about it. Okay. Next is write a brief on the following: the public sector policy of the government of India. So what is it? Public sector policy of India. So you should include what are the policies related to atomic energy, space, defense, telecom, power, petro, coal, and other minerals, banking, insurance, financial services, and all. They are all according to the public sector policy. They are all strategic sectors. All the remaining sectors, they said we can privatize it, as well as holding level of strategic sectors will be also retained under central government. So that is what is coming under public sector policy of India. Next is significance and need for financial reforms. So that includes allocation of resource, improved production, accelerated economic growth, creating efficient and stable and competitive environment, all those things. Next question, the General Trade Agreement on Trade and Tariffs, GATT, WTO, and other regulations are actually accelerating the decentralization process without pursuing a more thoughtful strategy to protect the cultural differences that make our world a rich source of diverse experience. So they're asking us to write our opinion on that, I guess. So some of the points which you can include is the domination of MNCs, or the concept of making rich richer and poor poorer. Rich benefits the most. It is too authoritative and all, right? Like for example in Ethiopia, how the crisis actually led to malnutrition and all, you can write. The next B part of it is highlight the importance of infrastructure in economic development. Why is foreign investment so essential in the infrastructure sector? So infrastructure is actually very important, right? Infrastructure includes a road, railway, all those airways, canals, and all, right? If you set up an industry or a special economic zone and there is no enough highways or roadways, railways, or anything like that to link the other parts of the country to that particular point, then naturally you cannot expect people to be able to come and work there, right? So infrastructure is very important. And again, foreign investment is also essential, because otherwise our metro trains, they were not ingrown product, they were Japanese technology, I believe, right? So all those things, foreign investment is also important. Why? Because otherwise we will not be able to have the technology if we if we were to grow it in home, right? It will take time. So things like that you can write up. Next is explain the critical elements of social environment of business and discuss the business implications of this social developments, industrial process and management. So education, lifestyle, attitude, belief, social class, preferences, all those things you can write out. Okay. What are the major objectives and scope of public sector? Is there a conflict between autonomy and accountability in public enterprises? Discuss. So again, you can write your own opinion over here. So I would say improvement in country's development, avoiding monopoly, fair trade, price, all those things you can write down. In what ways does political legal environment in the country affect business firms? Explain, giving examples. So you can write down how it affects new entrants into the market. They can act as gatekeepers, ideologies of the ruling party, its effects, infrastructure development, boost to manufacturing, business reforms, bank mergers, skill development, all those things you can write out. The next question is, the public sector has been central to India's industrialization. Do you agree with the above statement, and justify your answer with suitable example, highlighting the priorities set for public enterprises in the industrial policy of 1991. So you can talk about the industrial policy of 1991, and then you can write your own opinion over here in this matter as well. So I would say, like, development of infrastructure, heavy industries, oil, tech building, strategic products manufacture, oil and mine exploration, all those things you can write. Next is, examine the role for foreign trade in an economy and analyze the trends in India's foreign trade. So currently the trend in India's foreign trade is like import, export, all those things you can write down. So the next question is, why is the study of public finance theory crucial in understanding the fiscal system of an economy? Better elaborate. So public finance theory, it actually deals with the government's revenue and expenditure. Okay, it plays an important role in stabilizing the supply, allocating resources, and distribution and development of the state. Fiscal policy, it helps the government in collecting revenue and expenditure to influence a country's economy. Fiscal administration actually exhibits the reality of the government and the public organization in their provision of public goods and services for the citizens of the country. So some of the sources of revenue of the government include the taxes, profit, dividend, fees, fines, grants, all those things you can write down over here. The next question is to write short notes on any three of the following. The first one is privatization. Again, I'm not going into it, you know it. Unorganized sector. So that is sectors that are not governed by the government rules and regulations. So it includes like the fishermen, weavers, toddy tappers, beedi worker, plantation workers, all those things. That is the unorganized sector. And you are asked, you should write regarding the condition of their employment, low pay, they don't have paid leaves, or PF, or holiday, or medical benefit, or any of those things. So you can write about all those things. Again, trade policy reform, so more liberalized import policies, their concessions and exemptions are given to promote exports, setting up of cess, agriculture export zones, all those things you can write. Environmental management, again, it is a reduction in the environmental impact of businesses, increasing in operating efficiency, all those things. Administrate prices. So what is administrate prices? It is price of a good or service as dictated by the government or centralized authority, as opposed to buyers and sellers interacting according to supply and demand. Like for example, the municipal rates, electricity, public transport cost, licensing cost, educational fee, all those things come under administrate prices. So the next question is to distinguish between the following. The first one is self-sufficiency and self-reliance as policy objectives. So self-sufficiency you can say about Atmanirbhar Bharat, ability to maintain without foreign aid. Okay, and self-reliance you can talk about control over decision making. That is the cap, limiting the cap of FDIs to a certain percentage in certain industries and such things you can write. Okay, portfolio and direct investment. So if you have a less than 10% investment in the stocks, then it is a portfolio. If you have more than 10%, then you can direct buy, that is direct investment. Okay, briefly explain the following. Constituents of BOP account in India, we have already discussed. Merits and demerits of currency convertibility for a developing economy. So currency convertibility, you can say it is a sign of stable and mature market. It increased liquidity will be there in financial market, improved employment and business opportunity, easy access to capital, progress in industrial sector, better access to a variety of goods and services, outward investment, improved financial systems, all those things. Some of the demerits will be foreign debt burden could be there, BOT and exports, that is balance of trade and exports, could be impacted, lack of fundamentals could happen. Okay, so all those things you can write. The next question is, analyze the relationship between business management and economic environment using suitable examples. I think we have already discussed about the economic environment and the business management. Okay, state the significant characteristics of small scale industry. Examine the growth of SSI in recent periods. So again, SSI characteristics: single ownership, management with the owner, labor intensive, it is flexible, it has limited reach, local resource utilization, all those things you can write down. So the next question, trace the evolution of India's regulatory and promotional policy framework and its impact on industrial structure and performance. So you can talk about industrial licensing, control on monopoly, foreign investment control, small scale industries, administered prices, taxation, all those things you can write. Next is explain the trends in India's foreign trade with reference to both composition and direction of trade. So currently, from what I understand, there is increased import, reduced export, high growth in value of trade. All those things are the current latest trends, is what I understand. But you can go and Google and find it for yourself. Okay. What are the functions of money? Explain. So what are the few functions of money? Primary function, it's the medium of exchange. It is a measure of value. Secondary function is acts as a store of value, transfer of value, standard of deferred payments. Then we have contingent function, that is maximization of utility, employment of factor inputs, distribution of national income, basis of credit system. All those things you can write down. The next is briefly analyze the significance and need of financial reforms. We've already discussed it. Allocation of resource, improved production, all those things. Okay, so with that we have covered almost 6 years worth of question papers. I know I've quickly gone through all these things, just the important pointers alone. This is to just give you an idea and break the ice about what you might go and find yourself in your term and examinations. Okay, so I hope this helps you. All the best and see you in the next video. Bye bye.